Everybody good? All right. We're here to address the incident that occurred at Club Marcella on Saturday night at about 2:41 in the morning, Saturday night into Sunday morning. Buffalo police officers responded to a call of a person shot. There was a person that was shot inside of the club, inside of the men's bathroom. When officers arrived, they found that shooting victim who had been shot in the upper leg thigh area. That individual, a 30-year-old male from Buffalo, was transported to ECMC. He remains in ECMC and he is listed in stable condition at this time. Investigation commenced immediately with our gun violence unit detectives and our patrol officers. This morning, 2 individuals were taken into custody at 2 different locations at 2 different times. Our Buffalo Police Intelligence Unit detectives, along with the Special Investigations Division of the Buffalo Police Department, were working on this case and we're able to take 2 individuals in custody. The district attorney will get into those individuals and the charges that they face. This is an ongoing investigation. We expect more arrests to follow. I'll let the district attorney at this point address that, and then I know there's going to be more related to the closure, so we'll get into the arrests and then I'll come back and I'll deal with the incidents of the closing.
Thank you, Commissioner. So 20-year-old Yeramel Benitez, Y-E-R-A-M-E-L-L, last name Benitez, B-E-N-I-T-E-Z, 20 years old, from the city of Buffalo, was arrested and arraigned this afternoon on 1 count of gang assault in the first degree. That is a Class B felony. The second individual that the Commissioner alluded to, 29-year-old Ramon Lopez, R-A-M-O-N, Lopez, L-O-P-E-Z. Mr. Lopez was also arrested for gang assault in the first degree. He was just recently booked and processed, and his arraignment will not be this afternoon. It'll be tomorrow morning. Mr. Benitez's felony hearing is on December 8th. He's been held without bail. Like I said, they are both Class B violent felonies. As the Commissioner stated, this is an ongoing investigation. There is a possibility not only for others to be arrested, but there's also a possibility for additional charges to be levied as well. Right now, we got 1 count of a violent B felony. That's enough to hold both these 2 people. I won't presuppose Mr. Lopez getting held, but I will obviously be asking for remand tomorrow morning when he is arraigned. And so the investigation continues. Like the Commissioner said, the allegation is a gunshot along with a beating that occurred allegedly inside the bathroom of Club Marcella on Saturday evening, Sunday morning. This is the violence that has occurred at Club Marcella, in my opinion, has gotten out of hand. I totally support the Commissioner in what he did by executing his lawful duties to close down this establishment. I do not think that it should have happened earlier. The Commissioner will talk about it and talk about security measures that were put in place along with numerous discussions with the owners of Club Marcella after the last incident, which was in October, but the one before that was when I'm handling the homicide in February, which is still an ongoing and active prosecution. So I want to make it clear that I support the Commissioner 100% as to what he did, and I will continue to support him in any decision that he makes in the future regarding this establishment.
Thanks. I want to add one more thing to this, that as far as the victim suspects, we believe they are known to each other and that this was a targeted incident. This was not random. This was a targeted shooting. That's the evidence that we have at this point. With reference to closing the club, Sunday at about 5 o'clock, Sunday afternoon about 5 o'clock, and we had spent the day preparing what we needed to do to get this establishment closed. When I was made aware of this, we already got the wheels in motion. So in order for me to exercise the authority under the city charter to close an establishment that serves alcohol, it's called a peace and good order closure. We have done this numerous times in the city. We don't like doing it. We don't like to affect businesses. We want the businesses to thrive, but they have a responsibility to operate a safe establishment for the customers that attend these. I will say this about the ownership. They are very involved. They are very involved with the district chief. They are very involved in meetings. They are involved with, when it comes to security measures. This is not a lapse on the part of the ownership of this particular club. However, there has to be a change. Something has to be changed. They have an extensive camera system. They have an extensive security plan. They have other technology, but there is a security lapse. Something is happening when guns are getting into the clubs. Not only are they getting into the clubs, but they're obviously being used. This is the second time a shooting has occurred inside the club. The other incident that the district attorney brought up, the fatal shooting, was back on February 12th. 3 people were shot, including a security guard of the club, 1 fatally. A gun got into the club. We believe we know how that got in. That'll be presented in court. They have metal detectors, both fixed and handheld metal detectors. How are these guns getting into the club? Where is the deficiency in the security? Where is the lapse? Based on the number of violent incidents that have occurred, we have 3 shootings that occurred on property, 2 inside the club itself. There was a shooting a few months ago in October across the street. We strongly believe, have evidence that these individuals were patrons of that club when there were 2 individuals that were shot across the street. We also have 45 total calls for service this year, including 14 assaults and 8 threat calls or threats in progress. We worked with the club after the fatal shooting back in February. A lot of communication between the police department and the club. We worked with them to fine-tune some of their protocols. Some of the issues related around the club that we believe was the lapse in how that gun got into the establishment. They took a proactive approach. Club Marcella back then voluntarily decided to close at 2 a.m. That was not an order. I did not close them. I did not use the peace and good order closure because we want to work with establishments. They did that. At some point along the way, they went back to a later closing. We were not consulted on that. They went back to a later closing. This shooting happened at, I said, about 2:40 in the morning. So now I have the responsibility not only to the people in that immediate area, the businesses, the people that are driving by. I have a responsibility, and the place is now closed. Permits and Inspections Department of the City of Buffalo has subsequently issued a secondary closure order in violation of other city permits and inspections violations. The club is entitled to a hearing within 60 days where they will come before the Department of Permits Inspections, and the police department will be involved in that process. And then we will work with them to determine whether or not they can and will reopen and under what conditions they will reopen. So with that, we'll take any questions.
We're hearing from the owners that they're saying there's a possible ghost gun involved. Can you talk about that or?
So I want to clear up any misunderstandings or miscommunications about that. Right now, I'm not going to say whether or not a ghost gun was involved, but I think the presumption here is that if it were a ghost gun, it would defeat the metal detectors, and that is wholly, in fact, false. Ghost guns have a polymer lower hand grip, if you will. The slide, the top part of a ghost gun, is still metal. The bullets are metal. All of the components of that will still trigger a metal detector. So whether a ghost gun is involved or not, that's irrelevant to the technology that they have in place, the metal detectors. Again, clearly there was a failure in the security somewhere along the line that allowed that gun to get inside.
Why was now the time to issue this closure and not these 3 other incidents in or around the club?
So in order to do a peace and good order closure, you can have a shooting in a bar. Again, it has to be a liquor establishment. You can have a shooting in a bar. One incident does not meet the criteria for closure. You really need, by this statute, by city charter, you need a series of events. You have to have multiple acts, basically, of violent crime in order for us to come in and forcibly shut you down. It doesn't mean that we won't get involved, and we do quite frequently, even with other bars that may have one too many fights, may have some other incidents. We don't wait for this to get involved. We have had extensive conversations. As I said, the ownership of Club Marcella is very involved. They're very involved with our district chief. They always have been. This goes back 25 plus years since they've moved a year and a half ago to the Michigan location. They worked collaboratively with the Buffalo Police Department. So there is enough at this point. I'm not going to wait for another shooting. We worked with them. We went through some of the previous issues. Clearly, it's not enough. Clearly, it's not working. There is an issue with the clientele that's going there. Clearly, people are coming in that have gang ties and are bringing weapons into the club. These are the two incidents where guns were fired, were used. How many other guns have gotten into the establishment where it didn't lead to that? So this was the time.
Do you think it was a safe option to close, especially during the holidays, given that people coming into clubs could peak?
That's really irrelevant to when a decision is made to close a club. The timing doesn't matter. We had a shooting Saturday night. It was closed by Sunday evening.
So does that mean you can't open for another 60 days, or like what happened?
I don't want to speak for permits and inspections, but I'll speak for permits and inspections. It says that they are entitled to a hearing within 60 days. So it'll be up to them to contact, or they'll be in communication with the Department of Permits and Inspections to set up an initial hearing date. There will be a series of meetings. It's not going to be a one and done. There will be a series of meetings and ultimately negotiations on what we're going to tell them needs to happen in order for them to reopen.
So what needs to happen? They've already put in metal detectors, they changed the time. I know there's a lot of police activity, you're doing directed patrols there.
We're doing a substantial amount of directed patrols with two districts. It's right on the border of A and B districts, so both A district and B district are doing directed patrols. But I don't want to get into negotiations at a press conference, but some of those things you mentioned are going to be a part of it. One of the other things, and I've already said this today, is that security, clearly there was a failure at the security level. How are these weapons coming in, and how are these things happening? So those are things that are going to be addressed. Yes, Dave?
Commissioner, I just want you to clarify something. I believe you said we think the individuals were involved in a prior shooting. Are you saying that either Benitez or Lopez or both of them were involved in a prior shooting, or no?
No,
At the club?
that must have been a misunderstanding. We did not say that they were involved in a prior shooting. I was talking, or either John or I were discussing prior shootings that occurred there. There was no allegation that these two were involved in any of the prior incidents that occurred at the club.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
To be clear, this is not, there's no hate crime kind of thing.
No, they are, all the evidence we have at this time is that they are known to each other and that this was a targeted shooting. We are very confident in that. This is not a hate crime. There's nothing at this point remotely that would point to a hate crime targeted at the club or the patron.
I'm curious, just with all the security measures they put in, 80-plus cameras that they have, the fence, the meetings that you guys had constantly, what do you think's not working? I understand there's a failed security at some point, what happened yesterday, but what's not working?
Failed security. How are these guns getting into the club? There's metal detectors, there's wands. Clearly, something is happening, and if a gun got in through the back, somehow through one of the fences, and we talked about that before, what was done on the perimeter, so more has to be done. There's a lot of bars in the city of Buffalo. There are a lot of nightclubs in the city of Buffalo, and we are not seeing shootings to this magnitude at any of these other locations. When we have peace and good order closures were done, they were posted, and they were shut down.
Will a look be taken at the security personnel themselves? I mean, we keep hearing that there's, all this infrastructure, but could it be a person problem?
We are going to work with Club Marcella on that exact issue, yes.
Can you talk about the beating that I hadn't heard that before, that this was not just
You want to address that?
a shooting?
The allegation was that there was a shooting and some physical contact with the victim by the alleged perpetrators or their accomplices.
Was that before or after the shooting?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Anyone else? We all good? Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you.